It's day 6 and the final day of spring. All of our planting is done, our crops are fertilised. We're kind of done with spring, so it's time for us to start planning for the summer. Hello again, I am Jim Bob, and welcome back to Seasons in the Valley. We're going to take a drive over to the store, and we're going to check out some bits and bobs, get some new equipment. So there's some things that we are definitely going to need, and there's some things that we may kind of need. We definitely need a mower. We don't have one, and that is going to be a bit of a problem. We have grass fields that need to be cut and mowed, and nothing to do that with. So we definitely need to get ourselves a mower. We also want to make some hay, so we're going to need a tedder as well. We're probably going to need a windrower as well, although we could possibly get away without using one of those, depending on the mower that we choose. And I kind of want to get a T6 as well. Now, as you can see, we're 20,000 euros in debt. So, expenses are a problem. We're paying around about 3,500 euros a day in expenses, with nothing coming in to compensate against that. So, we have some choices that we could perhaps go with in that respect as well. I mean, we don't have any animals, so we don't have any animal upkeep costs, but we don't have any money coming in as a result of the animals. We don't have any wool being produced that we could sell. We don't have any dairy income. We don't have any milk being sold from cows. So that's a little bit of a drawback to our current situation. And on top of that, you know, we're not producing any manure. So if we were to buy something like a greenhouse, then we couldn't get the full income from one of those because we don't have the manure to put in the greenhouse. We can still get some money because we can just use water, but it just means we won't get as much as we could do if we decide to go with greenhouses. Now, greenhouses are quite expensive. The in-game ones, the standard in-game ones, are 25,000 each, and will produce obviously a fixed amount based on whether they're on water or whether they're using, you know, water and manure. There is a modded one which does cucumbers, but doesn't pay anywhere near as much. It is a lot cheaper to buy though. So let's take a quick look in the placeables. Scroll our way through. So these are the in-game ones that are standard, 25 grand each. These will produce 60 euros per hour. But as I say, to get the best out of those, we kind of need manure as well, and they're quite expensive, you know, at 25 grand each. Now the modded in-game one is this one here, which does cucumbers. It only gives us 45 euros per hour. It's not as much, but it is still pretty good. And at 8,800, it's substantially cheaper. So we're probably going to invest in a couple of those just to give us a little bit of income. But if we do that, obviously we've got the expense of buying those, and we need to buy... actually, no, we don't need to buy a water trailer because we have the Lizard BD frame. If I scroll through our own equipment, you can see we have this, the Lizard BD frame, and we have the water trailer attachment. This will hold 9,400 litres of water, so that'll more than cover the needs for, you know, adding water to our greenhouses. So we might actually just go ahead and buy a couple of greenhouses. Not quite sure where to place them yet. We could potentially look at placing them up near our silo, but we'll have a think about that. Anyway, let's go into the finances situation. We need to take out some additional money, so let's go visit the bank first of all. We'll go hit up the cash point, and we are going to have to take out quite a substantial loan. So we need to get, as I say, mowers, and have I turned off a little bit too... Nope, turning's just here. we go. There's the bank. And let's pull in and park just here. Alright. Just check we're not going to get run over. We're going to need, the mowers, we're going to need the tedders and so on and so forth. We're going to need a way to transport all that equipment back to the farm as well. So, let's see. How much are we going to borrow? Now, obviously, we can take out a huge loan if we wanted to. And see just how much it will let us go all the way up to. And we're not going to max our loan out, because that would just be ridiculous. You know, the income expenses would be horrific. We're already paying 1,560 euros a day in interest payments. Last thing I want to do is increase that even more. But you can see that, you know, we can take out up to 905,000 euros, and that's based on the equipment that we currently have and the land that we own. We can take up to, I think, around about 80% of the total value of everything that we own as a loan, and use that as collateral. Obviously, we never have to worry about the bank foreclosing our loan and taking all of our stuff away from us, but they are just going to charge us horrendous amounts of interest every day, especially with a loan that big. So we're going to need to drop that down quite a bit. Let's drop it down to about 300,000 in our balance. There we go. That's quite a big loan, an extra 320 grand just put into our account there. But let's start pricing things up. So a T6, just to get a price on a T6, we're not confirming that we're buying one just yet, but a T6, 117,000. Do I want to bump it up? That'd be an extra 10,000, so that'd be 127. And we'd want to fit it with a front loader attachment. So we're talking 128, essentially, for a T6. That's not too bad. Let's look at some mowers. We're looking at a Novacat front and rear mower. So that's another 20,000. Went out to 148,000, give or take. We're going to need a tedder. We're going to need a decent sized tedder. And let's have a look, see what ones we have available to us. We're not going to use one of the hay bobs. It's going to take too long. Not going to use the Krona. That's going to be a bit too big. 11.2 meters. I think possibly this Kuhn would be a good one here at 8.7, 16 grand. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. So now we're looking at about, what is it, 148, 158, 164,000. We're going to need a windrower. Now we could go with a merger, but that's horrendously expensive. So we've got to kind of really watch how much we're spending money on. I do like this, the Krona Swadro, but I don't really want to get that if we're not going to get a Krona Tedder. So I'm thinking probably going to go with this one here. 9.3 meters. It's a good working width. It's not that expensive at 28,000. So now we're looking. What did I say? We're at 154. Was it? We're looking at about 180, 82, somewhere around about that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we're going to need. We have a baler. We have... Oh, we could do with a bell wrapper. Perhaps. Yeah, we're going to need a bell wrapper, I think. Let's see, where is the wrapper? It's going to be in baling technology. And how much is the wrapper? That's 54. It's expensive, but yeah, I think we could probably do with one. See, now it's starting to rack up in terms of our expenses. We're now up to somewhere in the region of around 235, 240,000. And then I'm going to want a way to kind of transport some of that, so I'm going to need some form of low loader or transport trailer. got a few to choose from. A Joskin one might be a good idea. Not too expensive. That would be a good way to transport our bales as well. Oh no, we've already got a bale loader transport, haven't we? What's the length on our bale loader, I wonder? We could always lease one of those trailers. Let's start. Let's make our way back to the shop and start picking up some equipment, and then, yeah, we'll lease a trailer so we can actually ferry the stuff back and forth. So it's going to be an expensive episode, this one here. Spending money we don't really have. And you could argue that, you know, the T6 is a luxury purchase, that we don't really need it, and in a way you're kind of right, we don't really need it. But having said that, like, you know, I've said it, you know, in previous episodes, I don't want to overwork our T7 too early. It's doing so much already. The last thing I want to do is make that our mowing tractor as well. A T6 is going to be able to handle the front and rear mower a lot better than the T5. So, although I suppose I could potentially lease. Well, no, I don't really want to lease a T6 for the summer, because if we look at lease costs, it's 10,000 as an initial lease, and then we're paying another just under 1,000 a day, and then another 4,500 for every operating hour. That would end up being quite expensive, and we're going to need it again in the future. So, yeah, we'll just buy a T6. So there we go. Let's buy that. And whatever money we're left over with, we're probably going to return that as well. So, we don't need to buy a front loader attachment because we already have one, and that will fit our T6, which is a really good thing. We do need the mowers. Let's buy the mowers. There we go. We also need the tedder, so we'll buy the tedder and the windrower. And we're going to buy a bale wrapper as well. And we're using a square baler, so we need the square bale wrapper. There we go. We already have the bale trailers. Do I want to get... Is there anything else I need? We don't have a loading wagon, but I don't really think we need a loading wagon. Not at this stage. I think we've got everything we're going to need. Now it's just a case of maybe picking up a couple of extra little bits. Oh, we were going to get some greenhouses, weren't we? So let's buy a couple of these. Where are they? There we go. So, let's zoom back to our farm. Where am I on the map? I'm a little lost. This way? Nope, that's going the wrong way, so we need to follow this road down here. Here we go, here's our farm. I think. Yes, there we go. So, let's figure out where we want these greenhouses to be. I could have them along here, possibly. But I get the feeling a shed would be quite a good thing to have along here, perhaps. Where do I want to put my greenhouses? I suppose, no, here isn't too bad a place. Right, let's try and get these lined up so at least they're square. This is where it gets a bit tricky. Trying to get the angle right. See, they're wonky at the moment. There we go. So that's about the right angle. So let's see if we can get a couple of these placed. Let's start a bit further down. Let's start at this end. So I'll place one there. Trying to spin round without changing the angle, the placement angle. So I can keep them square. It's not easy to actually figure that out sometimes. Wow, that's a big gap that's making us leave between them for some reason. That's a really big gap. I don't like that. Don't like the fact that the gap is so big. That's because of the base that's going into the ground. That's why it's such a big gap. Kind of needs must, unfortunately. One isn't going to be enough. Two we can do. Alright, so we'll have two greenhouses just there. And then we've got space to maybe put some stuff in between them if we need to. Now that leaves us enough to get a low loader. We'll buy it. We can always trade it back in later if we need to. There we go. I'll just buy the 8-meter one. So let's go load our equipment up. Get it all transported back to the farm. This is going to make this a bit awkward. It's right up against the... It's giving us hardly any space to actually get back in and connect up to this thing. There we go. Alright, so let's use our T6 to load onto the back of this. So we'll load up the tether first. Hopefully this will actually... I'm going to have to drive really carefully because obviously we can't secure anything down. I don't want anything to fall off the back. I don't know if this is going to be long enough, you know. I'm certainly not going to get the windrower on there as well. Let's try and put the bell wrapper on instead. I should perhaps have gone with this first. It's not very wide. I mean, ideally, I'll have used the Black Sheep low loader, but unfortunately, it's an IT runner attachment, and I didn't want to spend another 50,000-60,000 on a low IT runner frame. I couldn't think what it was for a second then. So there we go. We'll do that, and then we'll drive this back with the mowers attached, and then we'll send one of our tractors back, probably the T6 actually, to come back and collect the windrower afterwards. Alright, so we'll leave that connected up like that. Let's very carefully drive these two bits of equipment back. Let's get the rear gates folded up. There we go. I need to be really careful, so I'm going to set my cruise control. Oh! Oh dear, it fell off the back already. That's not good. That's not good at all. Alright, I'm just going to be super careful. Yeah, it's kind of balancing on there now. Set cruise control at just 15 miles an hour and hope that it doesn't fall off the back. I think this low loader was probably a bit of a mistake, so what I'll do is I'll bring it back and we'll get rid of the low loader. We'll get rid of the low loader and then pick up the windrower on the way back. We'll swap them out. Really hasn't worked out the way I was hoping it would do. I know Black Sheep have been working on a low loader that can lock items in place. Hopefully that makes it its way over to consoles at some point in the next month or two. Because we could certainly do with something like that. I mean, having the straps to lock down bales and pallets, etc., is brilliant this time around. Obviously, that's a huge step up from not having anything at all in 15. But why we don't have any way of fixing vehicles down or strapping vehicles down still, I don't know. It's a big oversight, and Giants definitely need to build that into the base game for 19, because it completely defeats the point of having low loaders when you can't drive faster than 10 miles an hour in a straight line before things start to wobble and slide off. And if you don't slow down at a ridiculously slow deceleration rate, things just slide off the front as well. Something needs to change for Farming Sim 19. It's great that they gave us low loaders, but they gave us low loaders with no way of fastening things onto them, which made them completely useless for anything but the big heavy stuff. You try and move small lightweight pieces of equipment like this and they slip and slide all over the place. It's ridiculous. So I'm just going to crawl this all the way back to the farm. As I say, what we'll do is we'll take the low loader back to the store. Once we've dropped this equipment off, we'll sell it. We'll get rid of it. We should have just leased it. And then we'll bring the windrower back with this T7 again, and then the T6 can come back with the mowers. So I'll see you in just a moment. Okay, so let's get this thing sold. At least make back some of our money. Oh, we'll get the whole thing back. That's good. So, we didn't have it long enough to actually devalue it. That's good to see. I was worried that we'd actually wasted money, but to get the whole amount back, that is a nice little surprise. Very pleased by that indeed. I was very, very tempted to just get rid of the T5 and trade it in to finance the T6. But I do like the T5. I mean, I don't get to use it very often. It's just one of those tractors that, I don't tend to use very, very small tractors very often, So it's nice to have something a little bit smaller, on our farm. Something that's a little bit of a runabout. Plus, it's great for doing our fertilising and our weeding. And we could have done that with the T6, because the T6 can be fitted with either standard wheels, like it is, or with with narrow wheels. Can't take wide wheels, whereas the T5 can, which is a bit odd. But there you go. So yeah, we could have fitted narrow wheels on the T6 and just done all of our fertilisation with that as well. But I kind of wanted to have a T5. As I say, it's a small tractor. It's a great little runabout. It's something I don't use that often. And it's going to be great for doing our fertilising work. The T6 is going to be more of our summer tractor for doing our mowing work and so on and so forth. And then this is going to be our autumn, winter, and sort of spring tractor, where we do the heavy duty stuff. So the cultivating, the seeding, the ploughing, the transporting of grain and logs, etc. That's what this is probably going to be used for more than anything else. Plus it gives us a nice little bit of an extra rounding out of our fleet, I think, if we have a different tractor for each kind of season. So going forward, we will obviously at some point in the future look to invest in something like a T8 and eventually a T9. Really want to get a T9 on one of these, and we'll obviously end up either getting a second combine or getting rid of our current combine and upgrading it for the CR1090. Ideally, I'd like to have one of each, because I think there are going to be some fields the CR1090 is going to be ideal for, and other ones our current combine is going to be more practical. Let's just park this up just here. We need to kind of just teleport our way back over to the other farm now. There we go. There's the other tractor. And now it's time for us to go make our way over to the farm with our mowers. But before we do that, we are going to stop off at the cash point and just put some of that money back in the bank. I want to reduce the loan down as much as I can now, now that we're maxing it. Simply because I don't want to end up bankrupt by the end of the year. Let's get our beacons on. This is a little bit smaller, I think, so we can probably get away with parking just here. Leave the indicators running. And let's repay some of this. Let's keep... Yeah, so it was 660,000 euros in debt. That's quite a pricey amount. But we have a bale wrapper now, so we can actually make silage bales and recoup some of our money with some silage baling this summer. Obviously there's a lot of grass around the map that, while we technically don't own, isn't attached to any specific field that we'll also be able to mow as well. Plus, potentially, don't forget, we've got a load of grass that we might be able to get out of our animal paddocks, which are going to be just sitting empty and doing nothing. So we can potentially get grass out of there that we can then, bale and wrap and then sell for silage. So we have everything we need now for a nice, hopefully profitable summer, and we can start stockpiling some grains, not some grains, sorry, some grass and some hay. When we get our wheat come through and our barley come through, we can get some straw, some of which we can keep, some of which we can sell. We'll have our grains to sell over the winter. We'll have our wood chips to sell over the winter. We'll do a bit of logging as well. And there's no reason why as well, if we end up running out of things to do over the summer, there's no reason why we can't chop down a few trees over the summer and then just save the wood until the winter. when we're likely to get a higher price. I don't know, actually, if timber prices are affected by the time of year. Obviously, we know wood chips very much are, but I don't know about logs themselves, so we might have to do a bit of testing with that as well at some point. But anyway, let's start whacking our equipment away, our new gear, to figure out exactly where we want everything to go. So, this is our baler shed, and it's quite a big, wide shed, so I'm thinking the wrapper's going to fit in here next... Oh no, that's our wood chipper, isn't it? Where's our baler? Is our baler up the top? I think it might be. Yeah, our baler's up there, and it's already got the... Okay. That's a shame. Maybe we need to find a new place for our wood chipper then. I was thinking we could put the baler and the wrapper next to each other. But we've got the baler and the auto-load trailer next to each other. I mean, there's nothing to stop us from maybe sticking something in there as well. Or maybe I could put the mower. No, I want the mower's easier access. Let's take a look around where we have got some stuff. This is our shed for our wheel loader. You can see we've got our logging claw just there. We've got our leveler and our bucket just there. I could move these tools and then turn this into an area so we could have our windrower, our tedder and our mowers in that space there. That we can fold up so it doesn't take up as much space. So let's take a look around our yard and see where else we could perhaps store stuff. What about over here? I think we're using all of this space, aren't we? Yeah, we've got that for the BD frame. There's our trailers. That's pretty much used up all that space. So we can't add anything there. What about around here? We've got to have some space around here still. We're going to have our tractors in here. Maybe we could move our seeders into here. Wonder if they'll both go side by side. Yeah, let's try and do that. Let's try and move both of our seeders around here. So, a bit of a reorganising episode, this one here, to make space for all of our new gear. Our new toys. You can see them all lined up there. Oh, I forgot. Can't come this way, can I? Scraping on the roof there. I forgot about that. Right. I know I can get at least one of these in, but can I get them both in side by side? It's going to be tight, but I think I can fit them both in here. It's going to be very tight. There we go, that's the first one. And that'll free up some space as well. Then we can maybe move the weeder and the plough and the cultivator into those slots just there. Carefully back this thing in. There we go. It's tight, but they fit. One thing's for certain, when we upgrade to larger seeders, we're not going to be able to put them there because they're just going to be too big. We might get one in there, but we certainly won't get two. And there we go. That's those moved around. So now let's move the plough. I might just put the cultivator in front of the plough, actually. We're not going to need the plough for quite some time now, in theory. So maybe we could double the plough and cultivator up at the same, in the same shed, in the same space. Let's fold that up. If we place that in front of the plough. There we go. Yeah, we'll do that. I like that idea. Because, like I say, in theory, we shouldn't need that plough for some time now. So, let's just move this T7 out the way for a second. Just want to get a screenshot of all the new gear lined up. Go. That's our thumbnail for the episode. So let's put our mowers in here. So we need to lower this one and unfold it before we can detach from it. There we go. And then put our front mower down in front of it. There we go, so our mower's done. Get our windrower in. Excellent. And same with the tedder. Bale wrapper. There we go. And there we go, that is our yard reorganised. We've got the seeders in a new location, which actually is a location that makes a lot of sense, right in front of the seed tank. We've doubled up our cultivator and our plough, we've got our mowers in place, our other new tools in place. Now we just need to reposition the tractors, and I'm going to move the T5 in front of the weeder, because the T5 is going to be doing most of that stuff. So we'll leave this parked just there, like that. And then we've got the T6 next to it, and then next to that will be the T7. And that'll be our yard reorganised. Oops, let's turn the beacons off. So I think we are pretty much ready for summer now. We're ready to start doing our mowing when the grass is fully grown. We're ready to do our harvesting in autumn when our crops are fully grown. I don't think there's anything left to do. We need to do a little bit more fertilising, but I don't think our crops or our grass are quite ready yet. We'll have a quick wander over and check out the state of the fields, see if they are looking ready. Let's just cut through. Oh, I know what we need to do. We'll use our T6 for this. We need to put some water in our greenhouses. Completely forgot about that. So, let's grab our BD frame. trying to grab it at a slight angle so it straightens it out, hopefully. A little bit, there we go. There we go. Beautiful. We need to detach the top piece. There we go. This is where it gets tricky. Don't have a huge amount of space here. I mean, these things are a lot of, you know, very useful, but they are a nightmare to reverse. Not close. There we go, let's try that. Nearly. There we go, I think we got it now. Excellent. Okay, so we have our water trailer. Do we have a source of water on the map? I'm guessing we must have a source of water at the farm. Obviously we've got the river as a potential free source of water. I just want to explore. I'm sure we must have some kind of water source here on the map. Just going to pause for 2 seconds and see if I can figure out exactly where the water is. Okay, so we're here looking at the map, and you can see the help screen inside the garage here, and you can see that we have a free water source, which is the river, and we also have a water tower. Now, the water tower is down the road, so I don't think the map actually shows us the coordinates. No, it doesn't. But the water tower is basically here, on this junction here. So that is 1120 at 1720. That's the coordinates there. Now the water, I'm guessing this is the only real water that shows. So it's going to be somewhere along here. My guess is it's just here, where we've got this kind of crossing. This is the area that it's talking about, because otherwise it's going to be too deep anywhere else. So we're going to make our way up here, north of the pigs. And we're going to go and get some free water from there, because we're kind of skinned. We kind of spend all of our money. We're going to make our way up there, grab some free water, and then come back and refill our greenhouses. So let's take the T6 for a test drive with our BD frame and water tanker. I'm going to take this little sort of turn off here into the forest. I'm going to follow this little dirt road through here. Forest does look great with all these kind of bushes and trees dotted around, and this, you know, sort of dirt road here. I do like the way it's a nice, easy to remove dirt road, because it's essentially just cultivated ground with a little bit of grass in the middle of it. I'm running along the back of this fenced field here. And there we go, here is our free water source. If we get out, you can just see that the ground is nice and shallow here. But I guess that a little bit further along it's going to get a little bit deeper. Let's refill our tanker trailer. I think we got lost around here last time, didn't we? yeah, we'll turn around in that yard and then make our way back the way we came, rather than trying to figure out how to get out like we did last time and end up cross-cutting across people, shortcutting across someone's fields. There we go. The liquid lizard. That's the one good thing about having a pivoting axle on the trailer, is that it does make it great for turning, just terrible for reversing. Right, let's get ourselves back to the farm and over to those greenhouses. Just taking a quick detour on the way back, so you can see this is the water tower where you can actually buy water, but given that you have to travel almost as far to that one to pay for water as you do to get it for free, why would you go and pay for it? Why not just get it for free? So we're just going to head back up to the farm. Literally just carries, back along the main road. You can see our farm is just there, and there's our turn off. So not very far to go. I suppose it is definitely quicker than going to the free water source, but a lot more expensive when you consider that we're collecting, what, 9,500 litres. That's going to cost us a couple of grand, I would say, in water costs. Much easier to just spend, a couple of bucks in fuel and just drive our way up there instead to the free source. So let's get some water in our greenhouses and at least get them operating partially. They'll bring in some money for us, and at 8.5 grand each, or 8,800 I think it was. They're not too expensive. So there we go. There's our water butts there. Let's pull up the help menu so you can see how much they need. So 2,000 litres, the same as a regular greenhouse, which means they'll probably need about 3,000 litres of manure as well. But as soon as we add water, you can see, we can actually go inside, you can see that the plants start to appear. And these will just stay like this. You can see we've got these cucumbers here, or, given the colour they are, they look a little bit more like pickles. I wonder if we could draw a smiley face on that, call one of them Rick. And there we go. We're stuck on something, we're wedged. It's the water butt, I think. That's our greenhouses taken care of. What are we stuck on? Are we catching on the back of the manure? Yeah, we're catching on the back of the manure. There we go. Let's take a quick look at our crops. Are these ready for another round of fertilisation? I don't think they are. Crop hasn't grown at all. It's still 33%. So no, they're not ready for another stage of fertilisation yet, which means the grass probably won't be ready yet either. We'll go check the crop height on our grass field, which isn't 91. But we do have a grass field just here. This should be easier to tell as well from the colour of the soil. I think the grass might actually be ready for another round of fertilisation. It says it's 33%, but the soil colour doesn't look quite as dark as it did before. I'm not sure. I might run the weeder over this in a moment to see if I can. Actually, no, it should be this colour, and it's that colour. So yeah, our grass needs to grow a little bit more as well before we can weed that again. So we've got no more fertilising that we can do today. And we've bought all of our equipment. We've got some greenhouses. We've got those set up. We're pretty much done for the day. A very early finish to the day. It's not even midday yet, and all of our daily tasks are done. So, bit of a short day for our farmer here. But that's it. We are officially done with spring. We are ready for summer. So there's not much left to do now, other than accelerate time. and start the new season. So we'll do that at the start of the next episode. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and when you come back, we'll be in summer for more Seasons in the Valley.